Hello, welcome to FHE on the Road with Christine Stevenson. This podcast is designed to connect the people and the places from the past with your lives today, with 5-minute stories and facts from church history. Save these stories for when you are traveling through these areas to bring history to life. Okay, today we're going to talk about the Winter Quarters Temple in Nebraska. The Winter Quarters Temple is one of 3 temples that have historical significance to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The other 2 are the Palmyra, New York Temple, where the Sacred Grove is, and the Nauvoo, Illinois Temple. The Winter Quarters Temple is built on a hill next to the Pioneer Cemetery, and it is really, really powerful to go there and see the sacrifices and understand what had happened in that area. Winter Quarters was really hard for the people. It was a hard stopping place. They were there to regroup and to get ready to go to the Rocky Mountains. And it was challenging. A lot of people didn't have any money and didn't have any means. And it was rough. It's really, really inspiring to go there and walk around that Pioneer Cemetery. Over 325 people died and are buried in that cemetery. The church has put a lot of work and time and effort into finding all the people and getting all the names of the people who are buried there. So you could go and get a QR code and scan it and see if you are related to any of the people buried there. And it's different than any cemetery I'd been to before, where the graves are not marked very well. So make sure you get that QR code and it will tell you, it'll come with a map too and tell you where the people are buried. So I had an ancestor that was buried there and we were walking along trying to find it. And as we were walking, then we're like, oh, it's right here under this cement path that we were walking on. So, and there was no markers or anything. So make sure you find out who you're related to, and it makes it a little more memorable, kind of hits home a little bit more. The temple open house of the Winter Quarters Temple was concluded in 2001, and that's 154 years after Brigham Young and the Company of Saints departed Winter Quarters. The Winter Quarters Temple has period-style furniture to remind you of the pioneers. It also has antiques throughout, again, as a reminder of the people who came before and the time period that they lived in while Winter Quarters was a thing. It was a really, really powerful time for the saints and for the pioneers. So yes, they also have the stained glass windows, and it's the art of the restoration and the plan of salvation. So make sure you take time to look at those stained glass windows. I have another post coming specifically about those stained glass windows. They are so beautiful. They make the temple so different than any other temple I've ever seen. And yes, so make sure you pay attention to those stained glass windows. They're incredible. The Winter Quarters Temple is larger than many of the small temples. It's 16,000 square feet. It has a second story and a chapel, which is different than most of the other temples, the small temples built during that time. And I read an article about how the baptismal font of the Winter Quarters Temple matches up with that cemetery right next to it on the same lot. And seeing the correlation between being able to go in and do baptisms for the dead for the people who did not have the chance to get baptized for themselves is really, really powerful. Until 1999, the Winter Quarters Cemetery had been leased to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for $1 a year. So the church had gone back after we made it to Salt Lake and tried to take care of the Winter Quarters Cemetery for lots of years. And so the city just allowed the church to take care of it and leased it to the church for $1 a year. When President Hinckley decided, or when the Lord told President Hinckley it was time to build a temple in Winter Quarters, the city conveyed the deed to the church, making it possible to proceed with the building of the Winter Quarters Temple. So there were a lot of things that had to work out, and because the city owned that area, owned that land, but the church took care of it for so long. Anyways, the Winter Quarters Temple is awesome. The history there is amazing. The spirit of the pioneers is beautiful. I'm so grateful for the sacrifice that the pioneers put in to make it to Utah and build this beautiful area. And I'm thankful for winter quarters that was a stopping point to regroup and for the sacrifices that those pioneers made during that time. Anyways, so if you go to the winter quarters temple, let me know what you think and what you notice. It's pretty awesome. Thank you for listening to FHE on the road today. We hope you enjoyed what you've heard. Please like, subscribe, and share with anyone who'd be interested in these stories. Thanks.